This is the fifth video about installation drawings, and in this video you can see something more about the lists. I've talked a lot about layers and lists in the other videos, so in this video you can see a little bit more about the lists. If I start by going to this menu here and update all lists, I can go to the first list that I have in my project here, and it's a parts list. A parts list is a list that includes all components from the project, and that means all the components with an article number, because here I have something that I don't really know what is, but I'll try to go into that just in a little while. This parts list here includes components from, I'll just right click and go to list settings. It includes parts from all layers. It says layer 0, but if I click here you can see that 0 means all layers. If I only want to include my electrical installations, I could go down and double click here, and then it would only be from layer 1, and update the list here, and then you can see I have a parts list only with components in layer 1. So that's one of the reasons why I want to make those groups. If I just right click once again and go to right click again and go to list settings, you can see that I might also have selected one of the groups, but that's not relevant here. So I simply just clicked select layer number 1. I could also include, which I did, lines with article data, and lines with article data are my cables. And for all my lines I added an extra 100 centimeters, 1 meter, and the reason for that is that I was not sure whether I had enough cable, because I placed my components in different elevations and I connected the cable on each component in, I think, the right elevation, but again I'm not that sure that I have all cables, so I could add another meter here. If I don't add anything, you can see here that now it's 22.5. I can update and you can see that's the length that's added now. I'll just go back to the other one, because that's yeah, and update the list, and then I could have that list setting, and I didn't have it. So update here, and everything is in this one. So parts list could be per layer, and cable could have added extra length on it. Then next thing I want to look at here is my electrical components. I placed single pole switches and outlets on my wall and in my ceiling, and if I have this type here, it does make sense to the end user or to whoever you're going to sell this project to. And again, if you just go to the unit drawing, you can see that the name for this page here is single pole switch with outlet, and that's the type that I have on this page here. But if I'm going to buy the components for this, I need to unfold the list, meaning that I need to know exactly how many switches, how many frames, and how many of each kind I have on this list here. And I do that by right clicking here, again list settings, and here I take articles out from my unit lists and my drawing. So if I update this one, you can see that now it's unfolded, so I now have a list of all the components that are really included in my drawings. So that's what I could do in this one here. I'll just go back to my first setting here, because sometimes when you have a list like this with something which you don't know what is, you have the quantity here, you're wondering what is this, those 6 something. And in this here I have a component list, and if I update this one, you can see that I have some parts here without a part number, and parts without a parts number, they are the things that are in this something list in my parts list. So this E something, or if I double click here, I go to, this was the first page, it's my stove. It doesn't have a parts number, and that's the reason why it's in my parts list with no parts number on it either. So This is one of the ways also that you can use the component list here, and you can see here that I have several components, 6, without any article number on, and that's the reason for this. You could also see another thing here is that when I have my cables here, cable 1, 2 and 3, you can see the quantity for each of them. If I update the list, I'll just lead to list setting. I could go in here and say, okay, I want 1 meter extra per cable. You can see the length here. Can update, and then you can see the results in the components list here. So those are the functions that you have with the list in a project like this, and by the way, in all other projects with PC Schematic.